welcome back to Spotlight. I'm Edgewenka and I'm here with my guest, Geraldine Carlwood, Education Officer, Early Childhood Education. Welcome to Spotlight. Good to see you again.
Good to be here.
Well,
I was looking forward to it.
I see you again, but I saw you on Umoja.
Exactly.
This is your first time on Spotlight?
No, it's not. I was here
You were here
before,
before?
discussing early childhood a few years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Gee,
so it's not the first time.
Time is it's going so fast. I'm having a memory problem. Yeah. And Ms. Deidre Nibbs, she's the proprietor of the Little Lighthouse Learning Center. Yes.
Yes. We call it the Little Lighthouse Child Development Center.
Little Lighthouse Child Development Center.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's cool. And why you call it Little Lighthouse Child Development Center?
Because we believe in development. When you say learning, people get the impression that, all you're doing is learning, but we're interested in development and the total development of the child, not just academics.
Okay, so what happens? A child in the Little Lighthouse Development Child Development Center, what is that child's day like?
The child's day is full of activity. They play, they sing, take part in creative activities, art, playing, Play-Doh and things like that. It's a busy day.
So was that learning through play?
Learning through play.
Right.
Yeah. And so how is that? How do you measure the development? I mean, it's like a parent might say the child is playing all the time. What sort of things that you see during the child's play period that tells you that this child is developing?
Language. Listen to the child's language. Child is playing with a group of children and they're talking and you're listening to the expression. They're using new words. And as a matter of fact, their sentences, are more developed. They're able to speak in more in sentences, using words and expressing themselves freely.
And of course, the motor skills are
Oh
developing.
yes.
Yeah. So you have have play equipment and so on.
Yes, we do. They spend a lot of time outside, outdoors. In the mornings, about half an hour. There's swings outside. They're climbing things, ride-ons, lots of stuff.
Now, some people say, learning through play. I don't know about that. I want my child to learn how to read and how to write, and how to do math and all that from an early age. The playing stuff and that development in that way is not teaching those things, and so I'll be concerned about that as a parent. What do you say to those parents?
Well, you see, play is organized play. It's not just running around wildly and playing. The play is organized in such a way that the child will be doing maths. Take a shape, you talk about squares and circles and so. And during play, that child has these particular shapes to play with. And by playing with these things, the child learns more than the teacher can teach.
So the child is identifying triangles, identifying squares, rectangles.
That's right, and even colors.
Different shapes and colors.
Because the blocks are
different
colorful.
colors. Yeah.
And sizes.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're different sizes, big and small.
So the child learning don't even know he learning.
Oh yes, that is so true.
that's
You're hearing it from one of the experts.
Yes, that's good. Sister Geraldine, this is early childhood education.
Early Childhood Awareness Month that's coming up in May.
Early Childhood Awareness Month that's coming up
Yes.
in May. Forgive me, getting a little old. And so you have a whole plan.
That's correct.
For the month of May. So let's go through the plan so that people get a first hand of what your plans are for that awareness month.
Well, on Friday, we're starting with our open house, Student Services Center.
And that's Friday, May
1st.
May 1st.
We're starting out 1st of May. Even though it's a Friday, it's the beginning of the month, so we're going full speed ahead with all of our activities. And the Early Childhood Unit is actually located at Student Services Center, which is in the Wards building on the 3rd floor. And there we're going to be having our open house. It's open to the public, it's open to proprietors, all the centers, all the primary school, whoever's would like to come, they're welcome to come. We're going to be sharing a lot of information as it relates to early childhood development, early childhood education, the stages of development, the activities that we're going to be having throughout the month, we're going to be sharing information on that as well in terms of the times and locations and the different activities that are going to be taking place. So we're going to be sharing a lot of information with the different persons throughout the community.
Yeah. And that's important when you talk about the training for sharing training opportunities for teachers, for child care providers, the stages of development of a child. Because a lot of times as parents, we call the curious portion of the child's development the terrible twos, right?
Yes.
Right?
Because they get into everything, but it's the time when they're exploring and learning new things. So that's
and you have to know how to manage that situation.
That's right.
Yes. How do you manage that situation? Because I don't know. I mean, I see it on a regular basis. 2-year-olds and interacting with their parents, particularly the mothers, because in most cases now in the BBI, the kids are usually with mothers. Not that father is not participating, but mostly with mothers. And you would see a child going to touch something and turn a knob or open a door or something in an environment, whether it's in a clinic or somebody's house or whatever the environment may be. And the mother gets, frantic.
Don't touch that.
Yeah, and worse than don't touch that, they'll smack a child on the hand. How damaging is that, and why is that not good?
There are two things there. First of all, we try to discourage telling children no, speaking to them negatively. We can speak to them in a positive way, reinforcing the same concepts that we would like to reinforce. But at the same time, you're discouraging the child from exploring, because the child simply wants to know what's probably behind the door, or what's going on, and who's gone in there, and so forth. And when you continue to tell a child no, especially at those we call the terrible 2 ages, they're going to become discouraged and they won't want to do, and it's going to actually hamper their learning as they get older. So it's a time for them to explore, and we need to allow them to do that, because with us telling them no all the time, it's actually going to be doing more harm to them than what good. It requires a lot of patience, understanding, learning how to talk with the children at that age in order to understand.
But if you have knowledge of this as a parent, isn't it a lot easier if you expect that your child is going to behave in this way, then it's easier for you to have patience, because you know that this is not a rude child, because this is the thing this is what we say. This child too rude, they don't listen, it hadn't. I throw it out the window. I mean, we say some serious stuff to our children.
Yes, we do. And we do some serious things to them as well. But that's how the child grows, and that's how the child learns.
Okay. So
and we are that at one age, we were just the same way. And I believe our parents had some patience with us. We need to just exercise patience.
Well, some parents have patience, and others beat us into the ground. And of course, it's serious, because we see young people, or even adults in the society today, that are shy, that are afraid to take risks, that are afraid to learn new things, and we don't realize that during the terrible twos or the early childhood development, that parent instills some sort of fear in that child that have a negative impact on that child up to adulthood.
I won't put the blame entirely on the parents.
No.
It's a community responsibility on a whole. And it doesn't just stop at the 2 stage. We're looking at ages 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, where the children go through their transition and their developmental stages. And as they grow, a lot of times, us as adults, we tend to speak negative. And like I said before, it's discouraging. One of the things we have to practice in working with children, whether it's a parent, someone within a community, or a teacher, proprietor, caregiver, whoever it is, we need to start speaking positive words rather than using the negative terms. We can get the same message across. We just have to change the way we speak.
So instead of saying no and don't touch and slap them on the hand, you explain to them what this is.
Exactly.
Or you show them how to open a door and what's behind the door. Or you turn the knob and you say this is what this does, and you try to explain to them, and they understand even at that early age.
They do.
Yeah. Okay. Now, so that's all that information is going to be shared on Friday during your open house. And what about parenting classes?
We're going to be having
be part of that activity as well.
We will have parenting conferences the last week of May. That's going to be the 26th, the 27th, and the 28th. And we are going to be doing them by zone. So we'll have one session will be in the east, another in the west, and we'll have one central. Okay, and those are the days that we have set aside for that. But outside of the parenting sessions, we're also going to be having training sessions. One session would be for caregivers, which would be next week. The following week, we'll have training in Virgin Gorda for all persons working with children within the early childhood years. And then the preschool teachers themselves are going to have a training on the following week, which is the 20th. And then the pre-primary teachers will be having training on the 21st during the regular professional development day that we have, that we go through with the Ministry of Education and Culture. So there's a lot of training that's going to be happening for those persons working with the children as well as for parents themselves.
We're going to take a break for a word from our sponsors. We're going to come back with more activities that's planned for Child Awareness.
Early Childhood Awareness Month.
And we're going to talk some more with Ms. Nibs about her Little Lighthouse Development, Child Development Center. Keep it locked ahead of Spotlight. We'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
Spotlight is brought to you by Tortola Concrete Limited, the National Bank of the Virgin Islands, and CCT Global Communications.
Welcome back to Spotlight. I'm having a really interesting conversation with Early Childhood Education Officer Ms. Geraldine Colwood and proprietor of Little Lighthouse Early Child Care Development Center, I think, yeah, Ms. Deidre Nibs. And and we talk about early childhood education and activities coming up for the month of May, Early Childhood Awareness Month, Early Childhood Education Awareness Month, and quite interesting conversation, I think. To continue with the activities, we talk about the open house training in the various districts, the various locations, and what else?
On the 8th, which is a Friday, that's next Friday, we're going to actually be having Early Childhood Educator Appreciation Day.
Okay.
That means anyone that's working within the age group, with children within the age group of birth through under 8, we're encouraging parents, teachers, principals, proprietors, whoever they may be, to show a little appreciation to those who work with the children. It's not an easy task. I'm sure you've had experience in playing with children and raising children, and it's not so easy, and we need to start showing appreciation for the little things, because they do play a very important role in the development of the child. So it will be an opportunity to really show appreciation for what they do. We also have on the 15th, we're having our first ever pre-kindergarten games. So the children are going to pre-kindergarten games.
That's going to be a blast.
So it's a pre-K games.
Yeah.
It's actually being coordinated by VI Sports for Life organization, and they're working in collaboration with us. It's the first time ever. And the centers are actually looking forward to it. It's the first time that the little ones are going to actually be coming together and doing the little races. It's not going to be a competition by centers. It's going to be just all-out fun for everyone.
It's going to be a fun-filled mess.
It's going to be a fun-filled, we're not going to say mess, but it's going to be a fun-filled day.
I mean, I could imagine, you know, all the youngsters, the kids running and playing and, you know, trying to keep them on track. And all that. That's going to be interesting.
We're looking at a lot of different coordination skills. So there may be some balancing activities like the lime and spoon or the beanbag race or
what's going to be the age? What's going to be the age?
We're looking at the 4-year-olds.
The 4-year-olds.
You may have a few 3-year-olds in between, but we're looking mostly at the 4-year-olds.
Okay.
Which is the last group of the pre-primary, the preschool division.
And each center is going to be responsible for showing some appreciation to their employees.
That is correct.
You're asking them to take that responsibility.
That is correct.
Okay. So what you got planned for your employees, Ms. Nibs?
I want it to be a surprise.
You want it to be a surprise?
Yes, but she can't say.
You can't say it. Okay. I always get that. It's going to be a surprise. But I think it's a good thing because we don't really show the kind of appreciation that we need to show to persons who take care of our children.
That is true.
Because that's what they do. You know, we sort of we have children, and in 3 months' time, we give them over to a early child care provider, and we go to work for 8, 9, 10 hours, and come home and go to sleep.
Yes, and they're the ones that spend most of the time with the children. So they have a really great impact on their lives at that stage.
Yeah, and that brings me to the question of, well, I don't know if I want to get to that question yet, but it brings me to the question of choosing our early child care center, because it is so important to the development of the human, early child care, that there must be some things that we need to look out for to make sure that we are getting the right environment for our children. How do we know what to look for? How, you know, when we go, I just have a child, and the child is 3 months, and my wife has to go back to work, and I need to leave my child, and I know that's got to be a traumatic experience for any mother, and I have to leave my child with an early child care provider. How do I choose one? What am I looking for?
One of the first things that persons look for is space. And that's one of the things we at the ministry also look for in terms of the space, furnishings, that they are age appropriate for the children. We also look at the learning activities that are provided for the children, because even at the infant stage, there still needs to be stimulating activities. So if you go into a center and you find that the caregiver is singing with the children or reading stories to the children or on the floor playing with, using activities to play with the children, you find that that's a more stimulating environment versus one that you would find where a child is probably in the crib a lot of the times, or just on the floor, or just walking around, and there's very little interaction between the caregiver and the children, or even peer-to-peer. There's very little socialization. So those are some of the things that you really need to look for.
So when you walk into the daycare, you don't want to see your child just laying in the crib with nothing to do.
What we basically say is the crib is basically for sleeping.
Okay.
Yes.
And you don't want to just see them sitting up in their car seat or their chair, their baby
there's
chair,
supposed to be time for interaction. No, there's time for interaction. That's how they develop their language skills from very young. There's social interaction,
should the
all those
television be on
different
at all
things.
in the early child care center? Should we allow televisions?
We allow television, but it must be purposeful. It's not for entertainment or keeping children engaged and busy while you're doing something else. It must be purposeful activities that they're using the television for.
Okay. So you come in, and the important thing to look for is the interaction that's going on with the children in the center.
That's one of the key things, because that's how they learn to grow and develop. The language development, if you have centers where the caregivers are not communicating, where they're just changing Pampers and feeding and putting them back down without much social interaction and so forth, they are not providing the stimulating activities that they would need to do in order for the children to develop. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's continue with your activities, because I got the tendency to talk about other things and then at the end try to rush the activities.
Okay, there's just a few more activities that I need to point out. On the 25th of May, that is a Monday, and it is a holiday, and we are encouraging persons to come out. We are having a family fun day. It's a day for all the centers to come together, as well as the pre-primary divisions to come together with staff, principals, proprietors, parents, and children, and just have a day of fun. We have a lot of engaging activities that we have planned for the day, and there's going to be a lot of entertainment, lots of food and drink. It's going to be
and where is that going to be?
It's going to be at Inescalipi Primary School grounds.
Okay, and the races, the activities for the kids that you talk about, I think it's on the 8th.
The 15th is for the pre-kindergarten games.
Pre-kindergarten games,
yes.
Okay, the 15th.
That's on the 15th.
Where is that going to be?
That is going to be on the A.O. Shirley Recreation Grounds.
Okay, so the games on the
yes.
A.O. Shirley Grounds, and the Family Fun Day is on the
Inescalipi Primary Grounds.
Okay.
Now, one thing I did forget to mention is that the pre-primary, they're going to be actually having soccer competition in the afternoon on the same day of the 15th. So in the morning, we'll be having the preschoolers having their sporting activities, and in the afternoon on Inescalipi School grounds, we're going to be having the pre-primary having soccer competition. So both of them get a part of the physical fitness activities that we have going on for that week.
And this like what 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds?
Those are the 5 and 6 year olds.
5 and 6 year olds.
Yes.
Okay.
The older children.
And we're talking about grades now. Our language has changed.
Yes.
So we talk about what?
We're talking about the kindergarten and the first graders.
And the first graders.
And possibly second graders.
Okay. So
Yes.
Kindergarten, first and second grade.
That's correct.
Yeah, we got to get
Which was stage 1, stage 2, and class 1.
Yes.
Yes. Kindergarten, first grade, and second grade.
We got to get used to the new language.
I know.
Yeah. Okay. And so that's to the extent of your activities.
We have one final one that's on the 29th. That's an open house where all the centers, we're encouraging all centers to just put on display some of the children's work, some of the materials that they use, activities that they provide for the children and so forth. So parents can come in, and not just parents, but probably the public in general can come in and see what their center has to offer. It's an opportunity for them to promote their centers, share what their policies, their beliefs, and so forth are within their centers. That way parents who might be looking for a center can compare and have an idea as to the variations within the community and what we have to offer.
How are we going to find the centers? Are we going to have a list published of where the centers are? How, if I want to go around to several different centers on any other days?
At the open house, sorry about that. At the open house, we're going to have a list of all the centers along with their locations.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Cool. Where is your center located, Ms. Nibs?
My center is located in Treadfall Estate in Seacosby.
Oh, Seacosby. Okay, Treadfall Estate.
Yes.
Treadfall Estate. And where around where that is?
Do you know where the Seventh Adventist school is?
Yes.
But I'm just close to them.
In that area. And when you say that is a Treadfall Estate?
Yeah.
Treadfall Estate.
Treadfall Estate. That's interesting. And let me see. You have. I think you look familiar. Your sister.
Should be.
Your sister is
No sister.
No sister.
Yeah.
You look like you resemble the principal or who used to be principal of the Valerie Thomas school. I think she's a Fobbs.
She's my.
Anyway, never
my
mind. Forget it. Don't even go there with me. I'm just trying to place
your face.
Yeah, place your
That was
face.
sister,
Yeah. So we have these activities coming up, and you expect that and you've spoken with all the care centers, the early childhood care centers,
Yes.
and they're all going to participate, have open houses, show appreciation to their employees, have exhibits of the work of the children, and you have a list that people can come to your location in the ward building.
That's correct.
And you'll share the information, and they could go on their way
Yes.
checking the stuff out. What's the phone number that they can where they can reach you?
It's 468-2757 or 2756 or extension 2759.
They could just call the government.
Or they can call the government extension and ask for Student Services Center, and any one of us can help.
Okay. And your little lighthouse child development center is
The
how you get
contact
in touch?
number is 494-029-259.
Okay. Now you talk a lot about say it again,
494-0259.
494-0259. Okay. And you were listed in the phone book?
Yes, I'm listed.
Okay. Good. The training, I'm really
You're about the training.
I'm about the training. I'm really concerned about the training, and I don't know why is it we can't have more parenting classes. Why isn't early childhood education department having along with social development, because I know social development has some training as well, have more parenting classes, seen as how this is so important for our young people. It just seems like once every 3 months, or maybe once every 6 months, twice a year, 3 times a year, is really not enough to talk about the early stages of development, the words that need to be used, the verbiage that needs to be used in order to speak properly to your youngster in words of encouragement, words of explanation, in words of positivity. Why aren't we getting more of that in the system from your department?
It's not that we don't want to, but we face a challenge in terms of resources, because we know social development, they assist in some of the training in terms of servicing for the parents, but within our division, it's very few of us in early childhood. Now, we do get some support from other persons from within the ministry, but it's still limited when you look at the number of centers that we have across the territory, and we are talking our 4 major islands. It poses a challenge getting out to all of them and sharing the information that is actually needed.
Well, I'm not talking about training the persons in the centers.
No, I'm talking about the parents.
Okay.
I'm talking about the parents.
Okay.
Because, like I said, for us to get out to share with them is very difficult because we have limited resources in terms of human resources who can go out and have parenting sessions.
So why don't we develop a program in a central location where a person like me, well, not a person like me, I don't have children anymore. I got adults. But where a person could, with children, could come and get information and training as to how to manage the development of their child. Have a central location on a regular basis where you have ongoing classes and you have a program of parenting, a consistent, ongoing program of parenting for persons to come in and learn parenting skills. I mean,
it's a great idea. I can say that
again, it's resources.
It's resources, but we've been communicating with the proprietors because we know it's a need. And one of the things they've asked is either to come and attend their PTA meetings and speak with the parents during their PTA sessions, or one of the things we've encouraged them to do is actually probably come together within zones where we can come and meet with a body of parents rather than coming to individual PTA meetings. But it will still provide us with an opportunity to speak with parents on a more regular basis rather than just probably like during early childhood months.
I'm talking about a classroom setting with
that
with notes.
That one I'm not sure at the education level we are ready to take on as yet.
A classroom setting where you come in with your copybook. And well, we don't use copybooks anymore, but with your iPad,
that's
laptop,
a totally different.
Yeah, I'm talking about a serious education program for parents.
That's something we would have to do in collaboration with social development, though.
And start issuing licenses to people to have children. You know, you can't,
that we can't control. That one we cannot control. So we have to leave that alone.
I got that from Kareem Hull when he was on Teen Talk, which I thought was an interesting idea. But yes, I mean, I know we wouldn't go that far, but certainly I think that we need to develop a classroom training program for parents, and we have a lot of young parents who don't have a clue, and of course, by virtue of them not having a clue, you have children that are growing up that perhaps turning out to be less than sociable. And of course that costs money. Jesse Jackson used to say, you spend money on the front end so you don't have to spend it on the back end. So you spend money on early childhood education so you don't have to spend it on prison.
That I do agree with.
You know, so
I definitely agree with that. It's something that we can consider.
Well, yeah, I like to see
that.
It
really would take a lot of time. The one thing I know we may have a challenge with, and I've heard this from the proprietors and even at the pre-primary level and the primary level, where those parents that you really need to target are the ones that you don't get to come out. That is what we're going to have to actually focus on, to see how we can get those parents that really need that support to come out and engage in the kind of service that we possibly offer.
I agree with that. So your problem is twofold.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, let's go over again. Following at 3 o'clock. And I didn't get to talk about half the things I want to talk about, but I think we got some good information out. So let's go over your awareness month again. Tell us all of the events that's coming up, so and how we can participate in those events.
Okay, there was one event I forgot to mention. I don't know how it slipped my mind. But on Sunday, we are actually going to Virgin Gorda for church. We have a body of about 50 persons that's going to be worshiping at Sanctuary of Hope Church in Virgin Gorda. So we have some that will be leaving from Tortola to go over, and then we have those that are in Virgin Gorda that will be joining us for the church service.
And you're going to take the boat from the ferry dock?
Yes.
And what time is the boat going to be leaving?
The boat should be leaving at 9.
Is that a special boat or that's a regular
It's
schedule?
a regular ferry.
Okay.
It's a regular ferry that we're going to be using, and we supposedly should be returning about 1 o'clock.
Okay, good.
So we're opening, well, not officially opening because we have an opening ceremony. But before we get too much into the month's activities, we want to ask God's blessings on all the activities that we're going to be doing for the month.
That's cool. And that would happen on what day?
That's going to be on the 3rd of May.
The 3rd of May.
Yes, so that's
So
Sunday.
you're starting with the open house on the 1st.
On the 1st, and we'll be having a church service on the 3rd.
What's happening on the 2nd?
Nothing, that's a Saturday. We're not having anything on a Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Okay. We just have selected days. Now, throughout the weeks, I can say for the week of the 4th to the 8th, the centers will be focusing on music and movement. And of course, we're going to be tying in the theme with it, which is education through culture, a Virgin Islands experience. So we want to have them focusing on the music and the movement in terms of that. On the next week, we're going to be focusing on fitness and health and fitness.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, they're going to be focusing on a lot of activities as it relates to that, and about eating healthy foods and our local foods or local dishes and so forth. So we're tying in the culture with that as well. On the 3rd week, we're going to be looking at the arts. And we're looking at our cultural arts through the Virgin Islands culture and utilizing things within our nature for the creative aspect of it. And on the 4th week, it's going to be family togetherness. So if you listen to all that I've said, you'll realize that the activities that we have planned for the various weeks tie in with the activities that are going to be going on throughout the weeks at the centers. Okay? So we have the training. With the trainings, they're even tied in during the week. So the caregivers training, that's going to be focusing on music and movement. Mm-hmm. The preschool training is going to be focused on creative arts. And the parenting sessions, we hopefully will tie in some of the things of parent involvement and engagement and what to expect at the preschool level, what to expect at the pre-primary level, and some of the development and stages and overall information that we'll be sharing with them.
All right. That's cool. And I'm really excited that you were able to come by on Spotlight and share with us. If you have any last word you want to give, or, you want me to wrap up?
Would you like to say anything before we wrap up?
Well, I'd like to say thank you for having me on Spotlight. It's my first time on a program like this.
Yes.
And I've enjoyed.
Yeah, and you have a very interesting center, Learning Through Play, I think, which is perhaps the new mode of early childhood education now, where we've come to understand that it's easier for children to learn by doing than just sitting around and you're yelling at them about 1 and 1 is 2, right? Yeah.
That's right. Well, one of our new buzzwords, terms is child-directed learning or child-centered learning, where it's not about the teachers or the caregivers or the proprietors doing and preparing and giving to the children, but actually setting up the center in a way that the children can actually access the materials that they can engage in their own learning.
Okay, so they could go with the shelf
wherever
and pick up something that they want to be interested in that day.
Yeah.
And the teacher would facilitate the learning process rather than telling them exactly what to do. So you're not teaching the ABCs in 1, 2, 3. The children are actually learning that information for themselves, and you're just facilitating the learning.
So they show the interest, and you make the opportunity available.
Exactly.
Wow. Well, they've come a long way, huh?
We have come a long way.
Come a long way.
Yeah, but in truth, in fact, if you go back to my time, we learned through play.
Yeah.
It wasn't mean as a young child. We were outdoors. We played outside. We didn't have preschools and daycare centers like that.
But that is true. I remember that. I remember that. Playing marbles, marble hole, And of course, we learn how to count.
Oh yes, oh yes.
You know, and
We learn to be creative,
we learn to be creative.
taking things from nature and making stuff.
We make
Yeah,
we used to
that
make
was
little sailboats out of coconut hooks and
Yes.
and
Making
gravely
love,
and
baby.
I'm
gravely.
not too old for that. I know that.
You
I'm
ain't
too
no
young
thing
for that.
about
I'm
what
not too
you're
young for
talking
that. I know exactly what you're talking about. Not too young.
Yeah, but yes, we and I matter of fact, I talk about that a lot. The ingenuity of young people when I was growing up, of us when I was growing up, how we created toys virtually out of things that were in the environment.
Yes,
Whatever
we
was in the
used
environment.
breadfruit, the thing that came from the breadfruit tree.
Yeah.
Stick some coconut fibers through that, and that was our doll.
Yeah.
And broken dishes, the pieces were our money. So we were spending money, out there playing.
Yes. I remember well. Yeah. So it's the same principle.
Except that we have more, toys now that are created.
We think we're more educated about it now, right? Yeah.
Well, I'd like to say thank you for having us.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure being here. We have had an opportunity to promote Early Childhood Awareness Month, and I'm really encouraging everyone to come out and support us in all the activities that we have for the month.
And I'm looking forward to having you back on a regular basis because there's a lot of things that we have to talk about. And a lot of, and I don't know, maybe you could do a little on-air, bring somebody and do a little on-air early childhood seminar or something. Talk about the no, serious.
Big dreams.
Talk about the early stages of development
Yes.
and what to look
Yes.
for when between 1 and 2, between 2 and 4, and then whatever the stages are.
Yes,
What to
yes.
look for, and so that we get a sense of the behavior of what to expect regarding behavior of our children, so that we don't beat them to death and kill their spirit. Not knowing that this is a normal development process. So I'd like to have you back and we could do a little thing like that.
We'll work on that.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you
Miss-
too. Thank you for having us.
And of course, good to see you, Geraldine.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Next week, Spotlight will focus on YEP, the Youth Empowerment Center. And we're going to be talking about this success in the community, the importance of YEP in the community, and perhaps how we can duplicate YEP throughout the territory and see how that helps the growth and development of our young people as well. Because, we have to focus more on our young people. We cannot allow them to go by the wayside, fall through the cracks, end up in jail, become non-productive citizens, and end up on drugs. We just cannot, a small community like the BVI cannot afford for those things to happen. We're also going to be talking about our Heroes Award. Awarding our heroes, recognizing our heroes, the persons who made significant contribution to the development of the territory, persons who made great sacrifices for our success and our development, and our recognition of those persons. So it's going to be an interesting program next week. Make sure you tune into Spotlight Tuesdays at 8 p.m. right here on JTV Channel 55, and again rebroadcast on Sunday at 2:30. Watch Spotlight on demand at jtvlive.net. You go to your computer, punch up jtvlive.net. Spotlight has a tab right there. Click on it, and you can see all the spotlights that we've had over the years and what you've missed in the last few weeks. Of course, like our Spotlight Facebook. Go to the Spotlight Facebook, like the page, see what's coming up. Create a discussion, make a suggestion about the person that you want to see on interviewed, or you want to, information you want to have come out. So we encourage you to go like our Facebook, check our Spotlight. You get the latest Spotlight is usually up on the Facebook, so you'll be able to see that. I am Edu Enka, reminding you that when the Spotlight is on, you see the facts, peace, and blessings.
Spotlight is brought to you by Tortola Concrete Limited, the National Bank of the Virgin Islands, and CCT Global Communications.